It had been a day of idyllic solitude when I settled down for the night in my tiny canvas home in the heart of the dense woods. An owl hooted in the distance, echoing off the towering pines. I bundled up in my sleeping bag, eager to retreat into sleep after a day of hiking. Soon, however, an unusual chill snaked its way into my tent. Not the type to be easily unsettled, I zipped up my sleeping bag a little higher, attributing the chill to a shift in the weather. But then, the leaves outside rustled. A stick snapped. Not an unusual sound in the woods, but its proximity made me sit up, peering through the thin fabric of my tent. It was quiet for a while, the only sound being the rhythmic drumming of my heartbeat in my ears. Suddenly there was a low, guttural growl. My heart pounded in my chest. It was a sound I hadn't heard in all my years of camping. My mind reeled, trying to identify the creature it belonged to, but came up empty. Paralyzed by fear, I didn't dare move. But the noises grew louder, more insistent. The grunts were joined by the disturbing sound of something large dragging across the leaf-strewn forest floor. I reached for my flashlight, my fingers trembling. What happened next will stay with me forever. The thin fabric of the tent bulged inward as if pushed by a curious hand, the dim moonlight outlining a monstrous figure against it. The sight drained the blood from my face, my heart thudding against my ribcage. I held my breath, praying it would go away. A long, eerie silence followed. Just as I began to convince myself that it was all a figment of my imagination, the fabric was pushed inward once again. Only this time it didn't retreat. The figure loomed over me, its breath hot and damp against the canvas. In that moment, all reason left me. I bolted out of my tent, flashlight in hand, and plunged into the dark woods. I could hear the heavy footfall of the creature behind me, its grunts growing louder and more enraged. Fear lent wings to my feet as I maneuvered around towering trees and leapt over fallen logs. Suddenly, a brilliant light pierced the night, illuminating the woods like an alien spaceship. Startled, I halted, momentarily dazed by the sudden onslaught of light. It was the Forestry Service patrol. I screamed, waving my flashlight wildly. But then, the creature emerged from the dark thicket, an ungodly amalgamation of nightmares. It was monstrous, its frame grotesque and covered in patches of coarse fur. Its eyes glowed in the artificial light, and it bared its jagged teeth. The patrol jeep revved, heading straight towards the creature. In the glare of the headlights, it let out a monstrous roar, and then vanished into the dense forest. The patrol reached me, their faces pale and eyes wide in disbelief. That night, as I huddled in the safety of the forestry station, a comforting hot cup of coffee in my hands, I knew one thing for sure. I would never venture into those woods again. The memories of the grunts, the figure against my tent, the chilling chase, and those terrifying glowing eyes would forever be etched in my memory. They say the woods are just woods, but anyone who has felt the inexplicable chill, heard the unidentifiable sounds, and faced the unknown fears, knows that sometimes the woods can be a gateway to a realm of horrors beyond our understanding. My name is synonymous with those horrors now, for they have seared themselves into my being, turning a once daring camper into a man forever haunted by the terror of the unknown.